Top 10 knockouts that shocked the world. The power of a single punch. There's something timeless and electrifying about a knockout. In one split second, a fight changes. Years of training, hype, and strategy dissolve into stunned silence or an explosion of noise as a fighter crumples to the canvas. While knockouts are expected in combat sports, some go far beyond surprise. They leave lasting marks on history, shift careers, and remind us why we watch with bated breath. Let's dive into the top 10 knockouts that truly shocked the world, not just for their brutality or precision, but for the sheer impact they had on fans, fighters, and the sport itself. But before we dive in, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel so you never miss out on our upcoming videos. Now, let's get started. Number 1. Mike Tyson vs. Buster Douglas, 1990. At the top of the list is one of the most famous upsets in boxing history. Mike Tyson was the undefeated heavyweight champion, feared like a monster in the ring. He had annihilated nearly everyone in his path. Then came Buster Douglas, a 42-1 underdog. No one gave Douglas a chance. But in Tokyo, everything changed. In the 10th round, Douglas landed a vicious uppercut followed by a flurry of punches. Tyson stumbled, tried to find his mouthpiece on the canvas, and never got up in time. The world was stunned. The baddest man on the planet had been knocked out. It wasn't just a knockout, it was the end of an era, and the beginning of one of the greatest sports stories ever told. Number 2. Manny Pacquiao vs. Dwan Manuel Marquez, 2012. Their rivalry had stretched over years in multiple controversial decisions. When Manny Pacquiao met Dwan Manuel Marquez for the 4th time, fans expected fireworks, but not the nuclear bomb Marquez would unleash. In round 6, with just seconds left, Pacquiao lunged forward. Marquez stepped back and fired a perfectly timed counter right hand. Pacquiao crashed face first to the canvas, out cold. The crowd fell into stunned silence. Even Pacquiao's corner was frozen. This was not just a knockout, it was a full-stop moment that showed the brutal, sudden end a punch can bring. It was the kind of ending that rewrote narratives in an instant. No judges, no debate, just finality. Marquez had chased redemption for years, and in that one punch, he found it. The image of Pacquiao motionless on the canvas became one of boxing's most unforgettable freeze frames. Number 3. Conor McGregor vs. Aldo, 2015. 13 seconds. That's all it took. Aldo had been unbeaten in a decade, dominating the featherweight division. Conor McGregor had talked and talked, but few expected the fight to end before fans even settled into their seats. Aldo lunged in. McGregor leaned back and clipped him with a counter left hook. One shot. Aldo was out cold before he hit the canvas. It wasn't just the fastest title fight knockout in UFC history, it was a career-defining moment that turned McGregor into a global star and shifted the MMA landscape permanently. Number 4. Gabriel Gonzaga vs. Merco Crocop, 2007. Merco Crocop Filipovic was known for his devastating head kicks. His left leg was legendary. When he fought Gabriel Gonzaga in the UFC, no one expected Gonzaga to turn the tables in such brutal fashion. In round 1, Gonzaga landed a monstrous head kick that snapped Crocop's head back and left him in a terrifying heap. His leg twisted under him. It was disturbing. Crocop, the feared striker, had been destroyed with his own signature move. The knockout sent shockwaves through MMA and reminded fans that anything can happen in the octagon. Number 5. Hearns vs. Lennox Lewis, 2001. Lennox Lewis was at the top of his game, a dominant heavyweight champion with power, technique, and experience. Hearns was seen as a tune-up fight, but in round 5, Rahman connected with an overhand right that stunned the world. Lewis fell like a tree, his eyes wide and legs tangled. He was done. Few expected Rahman to win, let alone by knockout. The upset forced an immediate rematch, but the image of Lewis hitting the canvas was etched in history. Number 6. Holm vs. Ronda Rousey, 2015. Ronda Rousey was invincible, or so we thought. She had steamrolled opponents, often in under a minute, and was being compared to legends like Muhammad Ali. Then came Holm, a calm and calculated striker. Throughout the fight, she picked Rousey apart. And then came the kick. A left high kick to the neck sent Rousey crashing to the mat unconscious. The shock was instant and widespread. The unbeatable champion was dethroned, and the fight world learned that hype, no matter how loud, can't stop a perfectly placed strike. Number 7. Anthony Joshua vs. Ruiz Jr., 2019. Anthony Joshua, Olympic gold medalist and unified heavyweight champion, was expected to breeze through Ruiz Jr., a late replacement who many mocked for his physique. What followed was chaos. Ruiz got knocked down, then came back swinging. He dropped Joshua 4 times before the referee waved it off in round 7. The Madison Square Garden crowd was stunned. It was one of the biggest upsets in heavyweight boxing since Tyson Douglas. Ruiz had defied the odds and the stereotypes to shock the world with one of the most improbable knockouts ever. Number 8. Edson Barbosa vs. Terry Etim, 2012. In a highlight that still circulates to this day, Edson Barbosa delivered one of the cleanest spinning wheel kicks in MMA history. In the third round of a competitive fight, Barbosa timed it perfectly. The heel connected flush with Etim's jaw. He was out before he hit the floor, arms stiff, eyes blank. Fans watching live didn't even process it at first. It was too fast, too perfect. UFC President Dana White called it one of the best knockouts he'd ever seen. It didn't just end a fight, it became immortalized in knockout history. Etim's collapse was like a scene from a video game, unnatural, instant, surreal. Barbosa's precision and flair turned a brutal moment into a work of violent art. Years later, that kick still defines what's possible in the octagon when technique meets timing. Number 9. Thomas Hearns vs. Roberto Duran, 1984. Two legends, one brutal finish. Thomas Hitman Hearns had power in both hands. Roberto Duran was known for his granite chin. But in round 2, Hearns delivered a straight right hand that dropped Duran flat. For the first time in his storied career, Duran was knocked out cold. Fans couldn't believe it. Duran had fought through wars with Sugar Ray Leonard, Marvin Hagler, and countless others. But Hearns' punch cut through his legacy in a flash. This knockout didn't just shock fans, it shocked fighters too. It was proof that no matter how tough you are, the right punch can end everything. The image of Duran motionless on the canvas became an unforgettable moment in boxing history. Hearns didn't just win, he made a statement that echoed through the welterweight and middleweight divisions. It was a reminder that even the greatest warriors aren't invincible when faced with perfect timing and raw power. Number 10. Francis Ngannou vs. Alistair Overeem, 2017. Francis Ngannou's rise in the UFC heavyweight division was already terrifying. But against veteran Alistair Overeem, he showed just how lethal he could be. In round 1, Ngannou ducked under a hook and threw an uppercut from hell. Overeem's head snapped back violently as he fell unconscious, his body lifeless before it even landed. It was one of the most savage knockouts ever seen inside the octagon. The reaction was unanimous shock, awe, and a new fear of Ngannou's power. Overeem, a decorated striker, had been erased in seconds. The knockout instantly went viral, replayed endlessly as a symbol of Ngannou's raw, untamed force. It wasn't just a win, it was a message to the entire division that a new era was coming. That single punch turned Ngannou from prospect to legend overnight. What makes a knockout unforgettable? It's not just about the speed or violence of the finish. What truly shocks the world is context, the dominance of the opponent, the expectations surrounding the fight, the sheer improbability of what unfolds. A knockout becomes unforgettable when it alters careers, changes public perception, or flips history upside down. It's the underdog triumph, the legend falling, the unpredictable flash of drama that keeps fight fans hooked. Legacy beyond the canvas. Every knockout on this list left behind more than a stunned opponent. It changed narratives. Some ended careers, some launched new ones. Others reignited rivalries or became symbols of the fight game's raw unpredictability. For the fighters on the wrong end of these knockouts, redemption wasn't always possible. But for those delivering the final blow, they became immortalized not just as winners, but as legends. Love the countdown? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the most jaw-dropping moments in combat sports history. Which knockout do you think deserves the top spot? Drop your thoughts in the comments, we want to hear your pick.